G'day and welcome to the Grow a Small Business Podcast. I'm your host, Troy Truen. Each week, we speak with an owner who has grown a business with 5 to 30 team members to something bigger. Diving into their numbers and unearthing the pain they've experienced, we explore what they did to overcome each barrier and what they would do differently from day one. Let's get into it.
Welcome, everyone. Today I'm having a chat with Benjamin Dennehy, who's based in the UK in Bournemouth. And Benjamin is titled the UK's most hated sales trainer and a cold calling coach. So I'm looking forward to this chat. And we both, we're just chatting off air, we both share the sort of same name in pronunciation, albeit slightly different spelling. So we're probably related, hundreds of years ago.
Probably are.
So, look, thanks for your time. And I listened to your podcast with Dom Monkhouse a number of months ago because I'm a avid listener of Dom, and I thought, geez, it'd be good to have a chat with you on our podcast, and Dom helped pull this together. So, looking forward to it, mate.
My pleasure.
Yeah. Today we're going to chat about sales objections and as what I see as the lost art of cold calling, because I think a lot of people hate it for various reasons, and I'm looking forward to you unpacking that in a bit more detail. So maybe just introduce your background and we can go from there.
So So if you're watching this, you might spot from the accent. I don't know, but I should still sound Kiwi. So I'm from New Zealand. So for those Australians tuning in, no, Kiwi. Just remember, our knuckles don't hang as low, so we are slightly higher up that evolutionary chain. But no, I'm kidding. I'm a Kiwi. I've lived in the United Kingdom, actually coming up to 25 years this December. Will be the end of it. I arrived as a young 23-year-old, wanted to be here for the turn of the millennium. So I got in December 99. So I was actually in London on London Bridge at the turn of midnight. And coming from New Zealand, if you've ever been to a New Zealand fireworks display, you'll realize how pitifully, absolutely shite they are, right? So then you're in London, one of the world's greatest cities. They had a fireworks display. It went like for 20 minutes. I've never seen a fireworks display that goes for 20 minutes non-stop. It was like, wow. You just know you've left a small Polynesian island to come to a major sort of country. So I've been here for 25 years. And like I say, like most people in sales, I fell into this. I didn't want to be a salesman. I had hopes, dreams, aspirations. I was actually a qualified lawyer. But I needed a job when I came to England. And what do you do if you're overeducated, slim, look good in a suit, and you don't dribble during interviews? You're pretty much qualified to go into the world of sales. That's it. So, yeah, they're always hiring. And if you get through the first 6 weeks, it's, it'll do. Yeah, so here I am. So that's sort of how I got into this. I'm always honest about it because, I didn't choose this. It just happened to me, but I've made a lot of money doing it well, and I teach other people now how to do it well. Touch wood.
Yeah, that's great backstory, and maybe just give us a bit of insight where the title UK's most hated sales trainer came from, because I guess it's all about in business being different, and that title certainly is different. So
it's fascinating because I met a guy years ago called Brad Burton, and he's known over here as the UK's #1 motivational business speaker. And I went to an event where he was going to be talking. And at this event, all of us got to introduce ourselves. And I remember thinking, there's only one guy in this room whose attention I want to catch. I want this guy to be interested and come talk to me because he's very successful, very connected. And I thought, getting to know him might be useful. So I stood up and I let rip on why it's all your mother's fault you can't sell. Yeah, you're a loser and all this. And anyway, afterwards he made a beeline to come and talk to me, which is spot on, right? He goes, how come I've never heard of you? I said, well, because I'm a nobody. He goes, mate, you've got something. You need to figure out how to best market it. And he goes, have you read my book? I said, no. He goes, get my book. He goes, I think he said chapter 4, page 26 or something like that. And so I went to it. How did I become the UK's #1 motivational speaker? I made it up. And he goes, the rule is make something up and then just keep screaming it. Just like he goes, if I was to say to you, because then I phoned him up and he said, come on my course. So I came on his course and he goes, if I was to say to you, I am the greatest. I am the greatest. Who would you think of? I said, Muhammad Ali. He goes, exactly. but he wasn't the greatest boxer of all time. There have been boxers that have come that have been so much better. But if anyone else in the world of boxing were to stand up and say, I am the greatest, people would say, no, you're not. That's Muhammad Ali. Everybody knows that. So it's about finding a spot and planting a pole. So one of the things I teach is the reason why most salespeople fail is they have a pathological need to be liked. You go into sales because you're an emotional cripple. Yeah, you're retarded. You need strokes. You need to be told how wonderful you are. So they all need to be loved and liked. And when I looked at other sales trainers, they all said the same thing. Number one, top performer, best coach, guru, leader, thought leader, sales leader, smashed it. I thought they all want to be loved. They're doing exactly the wrong thing. I said, well, no one wants to be hated. So that's where I thought, okay, well, I'll call myself the UK's most hated. Then, of course, the world's most hated man came along. A guy called Donald J. Trump with this red hat. Maker, and I saw it and I thought that I'm nicking that, right? So the hat came after, and from there the brand just grew, and it gave me the ability to be myself, to be blunt, direct, to tell salespeople they were losers without them crying and running home to mum as they would have normally done, and it just stuck. And people love it because it does stand out. It's weird how people actually come up to me at events, and it's all like all serious. It's how'd you become the UK's most hated sales? As if there's some international body that measures hatred. So that's the backstory. It's all made up, but there was a purpose. I wanted to stand out from every other sales trainer who insisted on being liked and loved and proving their credibility through how good. I've never claimed to be anything but hated.
Yep.
Yeah, that's it.
Love it.
Yeah, that's it.
That's a good story, and I think, as you say, in business, it's about being different, and you've certainly achieved that by the sound of it.
Do you find it difficult to define and execute a clear strategy for your small business? Does your team support your strategy? You know you are ready to create the right environment to boost your team's performance. Our 90-day business transformation program is designed for small business owners like you, with 5 to 30 team members who are ready for growth. Every day you'll receive a short email with a handful of growth actions. You'll invest 30 minutes each week in your one-on-one coaching session, tackling your specific growth challenges with one of our experienced growth guides, business owners themselves. Boost your confidence, your team's performance, and grow your small business with ease with our business transformation program at growsmallbusiness.com.
So with, I guess, we work with small business owners, and I guess a lot of the time, as businesses grow, the owner essentially is the salesperson.
Yes.
Until they get to a certain size. So I guess with that context, can you share some of the, top sort of objections that salespeople, and in the context maybe business owners, the same thing, have to deal with, and your tips around how they can deal with it effectively?
Well, if we're dealing with objections specifically, so context is also important. So there's a difference between a sales meeting and a prospecting call. They're totally different social interactions. It's just like what people say online is very different to what they'd ever say in person. And it's the same with a telephone. When you're phoning up a stranger who's not expecting your call, they can't see you, they don't know who you are, they feel at liberty to probably talk to you in a way that they wouldn't talk to somebody were they meeting with them face to face. It's just sort of one of those things. So telephone prospecting is a very different kettle of fish from being in a sales meeting. So I separate the two. Prospecting and selling are two distinct skill sets. So if we were to talk about prospecting, let's start with prospecting. A lot of objections are normally, I was discussing this yesterday. I don't think there are objections. I think the objection is a term created by salespeople to say, I object to the fact that you're challenging me, or I object to the fact that you don't want to answer my question, or I object to the fact you've just said so. Because most things could be a statement of fact. Like if someone says, we have no money, that could actually be true. That's not an objection. That could be a statement of fact. So a salesman's job, particularly when prospecting, is to figure out, is what they're saying true, or is it just some form of smokescreen to try and get rid of? I'm not interested. So if you get that straight off the bat, I'm not interested. That's usually because of the way you've introduced yourself. So it's funny. If you phone someone and say, hey, it's Benjamin from ABC Company, how are you today? What's the first thing that goes through the person's mind? Fuck, it's another sales call. So instantly you trigger scripts in their head and they get I'm not interested. I don't have time for this. I'm just going into a meeting. Send me an email. It triggers these natural responses that they've built up over time. So The first thing is if you want to avoid objections, you need to change the way you engage with people. You've got to stop sounding like a salesman. That's the hardest thing. Great salesmen don't sound like salesmen. Yeah. So number one. The other thing is, again, on cold calling, most objections, I find you've led the prospect to them. So if you phone up and say, so what, we specialize in helping companies increase their profitability. We do this through a series of sort of training programs. Well, I just want to understand, what are you currently doing? And you first you vomit on them about you, and then you go on with some lame question. I'm just interested to understand what you're doing. So you're a prospect sitting there, what the fuck? First of all, you phone me up, you're talking at me about you, and now you're asking some inane question about what am I currently doing to resolve this problem. So instantly there's no rapport, there's no bonding, there's no reason for me to engage with you. So the whole call structure is completely wrong. So I teach people how to structure a call. Also, the other thing, most salespeople don't know why they're prospecting. I ask every salesperson this. What's the purpose of a prospecting call? I'm going to ask you, I'll put you on the spot now. What is the purpose of a prospecting call?
Good question. Yeah, put me on the spot. Well, the way I see it, a prospecting call is to start a relationship in some form. And I think to your point, I certainly don't look at it as a sort of a sales call, in that it's sort of positioning what you're looking to sell, what the value proposition is, and why they should buy it. But I mean, again, every business is different in what they sell, products or services. In my world, it's sort of a long lead, and it's more developing a relationship. So that's how I look at it. Prospecting is starting a relationship.
See, I would say that's wrong. I can explain why I'll say
that.
Yeah. Because everyone gives something like that. They give an answer like they say to get a meeting, to get an appointment, to find need, to find pain. Those are all what I call outcomes. All of those are potential outcomes. It's like if you ask a lawyer, what's the purpose of a trial? They wouldn't say to get an acquittal, to get a conviction, to get a hung jury. Those are outcomes. Now, what is the purpose? Why is everybody meeting in this room dressed in wigs and gowns? What's the purpose? Oh, the purpose is for an impartial body to hear evidence. It's got some noble cause, right? So its purpose is noble, but the outcome of this process is A, B, C, or D. It's the same with prospecting. There are multiple outcomes. You get hung up on, you get an appointment, you educate someone, you understand. Those are, but what's the purpose? What am I trying to do to this human being? And it goes back to, how does a human being buy anything? And everyone in sales knows this, but no one ever acts like it. People buy emotionally, justify intellectually. So I'm trying to get this total stranger who's sitting at his desk, happy as Larry, eating a sandwich, not thinking about anything that I fix. I've got about 6 to 8 minutes to make him feel something. I need him by the end of the call to go, okay, all right, maybe, all right, yeah, all right, maybe you do have something. Maybe you do have. So my job is to get him to feel about a problem I fix. I don't know if he has the problems, but I can certainly say these are the 3 things we typically fix, but you're going to tell me you don't recognize any of them. No, I can recognize one of them. And now I've got the chance to move that intellectual acknowledgement into an emotion to get them to feel it. And if they feel it, they'll want to say, okay, all right, no, maybe you got to, I'm happy to continue the conversation. It's all I'm trying to do. I can't get in front of someone and say, well, no, not really. But yeah, you still come and see me anyway. I don't mind. Why? It's like phoning up the doctor and saying, there's nothing wrong with me. Don't worry, come and see me. Yeah, I just need to get in front of people. You get in front of enough healthy people, someone's bound to be sick eventually, right? So most people go into prospecting wrong. They're trying to get a meeting. They're trying to get an appointment. And that means you're now attached to the outcome. And if you're attached to the outcome, you're emotionally attached to the outcome. So then you don't look at what you're doing to get there, and you miss all the signs that this person isn't interested. They're not going to buy it. They couldn't. So I teach people, you've got to get them emotional. And if you can't do that, prospecting is pointless. Because then you're meeting people. How many times have you gone on meetings and they said, to be honest, I don't know why you're here. I used to experience it. Well, I don't know why you're here. So why do you? I don't know. You just sounded nice. I liked you on the phone. Or yeah, what you said sounded interesting. But really, honestly, we got nothing for you. That's a waste of time and money. And that's the one thing I can't make more of is time. So I'm very precious with my time. Yeah. So that's it. And then if you want to talk about sales meetings, most objections can be handled with a question. Think about it. If someone asks you a question or they give you what you'd call an objection, whose problem is it? Is it theirs or yours?
Probably mine.
Yeah, it's the prospect. So if the prospect says, I love this, you get this. I say to every salesman, you're in a sales meeting and it's gone well, and you give them, say, the price. And they look at you and go, oh, you're very expensive. What do most salespeople tend to do around here?
Probably look to discount.
Maybe look to discount or start to justify and defend. Yeah. But what they don't do is realize one thing. I didn't actually even ask a question. All I said was a statement. You're very expensive. I didn't say I can't afford you. I didn't say I wouldn't pay. I didn't say it's a rip-off. I just made a statement. In fact, so salespeople have a habit of turning statements into questions and feeling. So they go, well, the reason why we charge so much is I didn't tell you to justify anything. All I made was a statement. So if someone makes a statement, I challenge it, which means now he has to ask, well, why are you so expensive? Now, that's a much better question. Well, can I ask you a question? I'm happy to answer, and I will explain to you why we're so expensive. But before I do, can I ask you a quick question? Yeah. Can you think of any reason why we're able to charge what we do? Now, the first answer is always, I don't know. Humans are predictable. Because they don't want to say they know, because the moment they say they know, what happens to their objection?
Yep, goes out the window.
It ceases to be. So they know the answer to their own problem. This is what I say. I'm a salesman as a therapist. Whatever objection you have, it's your problem, not mine. I'm going to get you to deal with it. So it doesn't matter what's thrown at me. So have you ever worked in our sector before? See, that's not an objection. It's a question. People think that's an objection. It's not an objection. I'm asking you a question. Have you ever worked in our sector before? Now, I don't know the reason or the motive for that question. I can guess or assume, but that'd be stupid. So I want to know, why did you ask me that question? I'll go, well, when you say, have I worked in your sector, what do you mean? No one ever says, what do you mean? What do I mean? What they do is, well, the reason I say it is because my feeling would be, if you don't have experience in our sector, I'm not sure you can help us. See, now you know why he's asked. Now I can dig a little bit deeper. So every objection, if you want to call it that, or question or statement, I simply respond with a question, because 99% of the time, the first thing out of somebody's mouth is not the real thing. It's like if you go home on a Friday night, on a Monday, you want to go out in the piss with your mates. Do you go in and say, hey, sweetheart, Friday night, I'm going out and getting drunk with the mates, lump it? You could, but that'd be stupid. So what do? You go, hey, sweetheart, you got any plans this Friday? See, you lie. Your first question's got nothing to do with where you're going. Yeah. Have you got any plans this Friday? No. Do you want to do anything? No. What are you going to do? Oh, I just want to stay home watching Love Island. Oh, okay. Well, in that case, you wouldn't mind if I just popped out for a couple of cheeky ones with the lads, would you? No, that's fine. So the whole purpose was to establish if she was going to stomp on you, right? So we do this all the time. We do it in our private life. Prospects do it all the time. They ask you questions that aren't the real questions, smoke screens to catch up. Will it work on Windows? Yes. Well, you see, that's where we're probably not going to be able to work with you, because everything else we've tried hasn't. Damn it. Now what do? They trap me. So this is how you deal with objections. You're not qualified. The only person that can handle an objection is the prospect. You've just got to get good at getting them to do that. That's a skill. That's a long-winded answer, I know.
Yeah, but, I might try and use that one tomorrow with my wife.
It's called Socratic questioning. Socrates figured it out. He got his students to answer their own questions, because that's how you get to the truth.
Yeah.
You just don't answer a question. It's a skill, though. You do it wrong, you come across as evasive, or you ask the wrong question, or you ask it in the wrong way, or you say it in a manner that upsets. So there's a skill to it. It's not just just answer a question with a question. That's the basic principle, but there's a lot that goes into it to make it work successfully. Yeah.
My lively chat with Benjamin has provided our listeners with such great insights, and with a bit of humour, which I love, that we decided to have two parts to the podcast. So please look out for part 2 next Friday.
Want to help other small business owners improve their business? There's one quick thing you can do, which is jump over to iTunes and leave a review. Or if you don't have an account, follow us on Spotify.